Hello guys and welcome to this another tutorial on Xamarin.Forms. So today we'll be discussing about how to make a new project in Xamarin.Forms and how to get started with making the first Hello World program for Xamarin.Forms. So let's get started with it. So first you have to do is, as I said in the previous video, you have to install Visual Studio for either Mac or for Windows. If you have installed Visual Studio, you can open a Visual Studio, and this is the similar layout that you will receive in both the platforms. So what you can do is you can go to File and click New Solution. It will find it's a list of applications that can be project types that can be built using Visual Studio for either Windows or for Mac. For Windows you will find many other things like Windows Forms and different things. Do not be confused with Xamarin Forms. So Windows Forms is a completely different set of application development tool, so in compared to Xamarin Forms. So if you click multi-platform and you can look at Xamarin.Forms, so you can see a list of project types you can create using Xamarin.Forms. If you browse to more options, you can also see iOS and Android projects that can be created using Visual Studio for either Mac or for Windows. So you can also create apps for Mac. You can also create apps for tvOS and different things like that. You can also develop for .NET Core and different things. So but our focus is on Xamarin.Forms right now. So if you click multi-platform app and click Xamarin.Forms, Xamarin.Forms and blank forms application, I'll explain what master detail and tabbed pages also. So what the blank forms app gives you is as written here, it creates a simple cross-platform application that uses Xamarin's cross-platform UI toolkit in Xamarin.Forms. So what this basically means is it gives you an empty playground to work with, and you can create your you can create your entries, you can create your items inside that, and there will be no help any other extra code from Xamarin in there. So what is master detail forms application? Master detail form application is for those applications that have side navigation menu and the side nav is called a master page, and the another page is called a detail page. If you have seen if you have used a lot of Android apps, you can see that this is a common practice among app developers to put a menu kind of thing in the side. So that is called master page, and the other page that shows in the side of it is called detail page. So what is tabbed forms application? So tabbed forms applications give you a simple layout that has a number of tabs, and you can work around with those tabs and display different contents on each tab, and it is as simple as that. So let's move on to blank forms application. So if you click next, it will ask for application name and organization identifier and the platforms you want to target. So if you are on Windows, it will also give you an option to install create for universal Windows platform. But I, in my personal opinion, think that UWP is almost dead, since mobile Windows or Windows Phone is almost dead. So it's already dead. So I think UWP has to come up with something new to help us in this. So you can create your app name, let's say Hello World. Hello World. And you have to create an identification. So you can just type hello.com dot something, right, like game dev plus. So common specification that is commonly used is com.company name dot so application name. So this should be the com.gameplay+.hello world will be the application organization identifier, app identifier for your Windows, for your Android or iOS platforms. So if you just go down here, you can see share code, and this is the method that you want with Xamarin.Forms to share codes. So you can either use a .NET standard library, or you can use shared library. If you use for using an .NET standard library, as you can see in the help menu, it says that if you want to share this library, if you want to create this as a library, and if you want to create this project and share it in another different platforms, then you will then you shall use .NET Standard Library. And for shared project, shared library, what you can, this is basically this can only be used inside your project, inside this single project, whereas .NET Standard Library can be shared across multiple different projects also, and you can export this. So this is what it basically says here. So a lot of I prefer using .NET Standard Library. There's not much difference on how you deal with this in a single application, but if you go multiple applications and you want to use the similar you want to use this project and this library across other apps also, .NET Standard is a pretty good way to go. So you can click next, and it will ask for project name, it will ask for solution name. So you can leave these things as it is, and you can change the project location also. So I'll just say slash tutorials. Okay, and if you want to use get, you can also use that. I'll do a different video on get after finishing this tutorial on Xamarin Forms, so stay tuned for that too. And the UI test project, if you need, you can create, but that is not really necessary now. Your first idea here is to create an application you can at least get started with. So just hit create, and it will take a couple of minutes maybe, and everything should be done. Okay, yeah, this is basically it. So here it is saying updating resources. On Windows the UI may be a bit different, but do not panic, it is almost the same. So on Windows you can find this panel on this side, on the right side, the left panel on the right side, it is called Solution Explorer. So this is the Solution Explorer where you can find your projects. So inside these projects you can see there is a different project for Android, and there is a different project for iOS, and there is a single project called Hello World inside this Hello World project. So what are these two projects? So these two, what Xamarin allows you to do is you can create applications so that it uses native libraries to communicate with Android and iOS. So there are times in which we will need to communicate with Android and iOS differently. For example, sending notifications. So for those purposes you have to connect your projects you have to write a custom code to connect to provide those notification services for Android and iOS. And here is why there are different projects for each platform. Also, you have to put your different icons inside the resources folder for Android and inside this resources folder for iOS. So this is basically it, and the main project that you will be working on is Hello World. So this is what is a .NET Standard project was. So if you see here, there are two different pages, and if you have used Windows or any kind of Visual Studio projects before, you will be aware with the XAML syntax here. So inside the XAML file you will find another file called app.xaml.cs. so app.xaml.cs is an entry point for application. So when your application runs, this is the first place that the application will go. There's another place inside the platform specific code. If you see here inside Android project, what you'll find is that in Android the entry point is main activity.cs. So inside main activity, what it is doing here is it is calling load application new app. So this app, if you go to declaration, so what you'll find here is it will go into this application, into this app. So this main activity.cs is calling this main application app.xaml.cs from this project. So similarly in iOS, what you can see is inside the app delegate.cs you can see load application new app. So it is basically calling this app file here, and this app is now creating a new instance of main page. So main page is the first page, is the root page. So any page that renders first is the main page. So your main page is now is main page. So main page.xaml. So this is where you have to write your first code. And if you go inside the XAML file, inside app.xaml, you can see there is not much going on here. You can add resources if you like. We'll go into that later on. So inside here, what you can find inside the XML project is you can find this line of code that is already there. So let's concentrate on this line of code here. So what it says here is place new controls here. You can just delete that comment here. And if you didn't know, this is how you comment in XML. So you can just basically write this, and there is already autocomplete for you. And to go with that autocomplete, you can do is hit tab, and it will just place the comment here. So you can just close this comment by doing this. So this is a single line comment in XAML. So let's now what is this label? Label is a simple text, is a simple place where you can write text. So inside here, if you click rename this to hello Xamarin Forms world. So if you do this, and if you debug it, if you build it in either in Android or in iOS, let's do it in iOS for me. And there are a couple of things I'll need to tell you before deploying this application, and that is, if you go to tools, is that tools? I think it's not tools. If you go to project or file, let's see, I think it's inside. I think it's inside. I know, where is it? Yeah, here. You have to inside this, you have to, what you have to do is you have to create, you have to find any, if it is, you have to create Android device managers and virtual devices. And for Windows, you can if you have installed Xamarin.Forms, it will already install its default emulator. So this won't be much of a problem for Windows and iOS too, because it installs by default. If you have changed anything, you have to change everything related to SDKs and the paths. If you are not installed SDKs, you have to find that SDK by going to edit references, I think. Yeah, no, where was it? So I don't seem to find it now. I'll show you in the later videos where that is located. For now, let's move on to debugging. If you just hit the play button, or you can do is build, and you can go to run and start debugging. So it is the same thing that you can see here. Excuse me. So if you open the simulator, what you can see here is, so my simulator is running, and let's wait for it to load. Excuse me. So what you can see is, since I changed the text here, hello Xamarin Forms world, you can see that the text has been changed. And if I just change it to something like hello world, and I just stop debugging and then start debugging again, I'll get the same window. And you can see here that my application is already installed here, hello world. And it just, yeah, you can see it's pretty much done. So as you can see, there are a lot of options here about labels and everything. You can see a lot of controls being used here. You can see content page and things like that. So we'll discuss about these things in the next video. Now, thank you guys for watching this, and if you like the video, leave a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel for other videos. Thank you.